Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session and a regular session on Tuesday, August the 2nd, 2011, at 5:40 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive item A, attorney consultation pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code to consult on pending litigation styled and numbered BFFA versus City of Brownsville, Texas, cause number 2009-12-6632-I in Cameron County and related matters.
Okay. Council, shall we go into executive session?
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We will adjourn to executive session. If I can have everybody's attention, we'll call this meeting to order. Yeah, but just a second.
There's no signage at the city commission.
Okay. The regular meeting will now start. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Reverend.
Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you so much for your love, your grace, and your mercy. We thank you for this great nation that we have the privilege to reside in. Lord, help us to take our responsibilities seriously. Lord, we ask you to lead and guide those that are meeting in Houston this week to pray for this nation. And Lord, we ask you to bless this meeting here tonight. Lead and guide each of the leaders here before us. Give them divine direction. Help them to see the things that are obvious and the things that are not obvious, and the cause and effects of each decision they make. Let the outcome of this meeting be good for the city of Brownsville. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
City Secretary.
The mayor's report is next.
Yeah, the mayor's report. I'll be brief. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. I understand the concerns of many citizens with regards to the economic woes that are afflicting our entire nation, and I just wanted to kind of convey to you a sense of knowing and appreciating that there are a lot of people who are having a lot of financial difficulties. I would urge each and every one of you to give us the ability to process and to have patience. And as we look into the future, I think it's this entire commission's want and desire is to see if we can look to avenues of revenue in trying to attract more business and trying to attract more jobs and make a positive impact on the economy of Brownsville. And I think that there's a lot of things afoot that should give us solace. One, for instance, is this Aeromexico flight, which has had a tremendous success. We are seeing a lot of Mexican business people very interested in coming and visiting with us. And I think one of the directives through the city manager's office is that we would like to have a city that have a one-stop type of business venture for permits and to get businesses in here, to make it business-friendly, as long as it's to the benefit of all the citizens of Brownsville. So we thank you for your kind attention and your courtesies, and we ask you for your patience so that we can develop this type of relationship, and all of us bring this city up to the type of city that we would like to have with the revenues that can be generated from commercial endeavors. And that's it, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners report?
I'm going to pass.
You're going to pass? Okay. Mr. Cadward.
Presentations, Employee of the Month.
Mayor and members of the commission, please help me welcome the Employee of the Month for August, David Velez. David. We've been blessed throughout the year, through the last several years, that we've been hiring people that are very well skilled in their professions in relation to plumbers, electricians, and in David's case, carpenters. Recently, David was assigned to the airport, and he has worked in many ventures at the airport in relation to taking it upon himself to do a lot of the carpentry work there. The loading bridge, the jetway, you may say that he worked on himself and did a lot of work on. Something that if we had contracted out would have cost us probably $30,000, $40,000 to do. He basically did it on his own out there, and we really appreciate work like that. He's recently working on the work we need to do for Aeromexico and accommodate them at the taxi, at the ticket place and locations there, and many other jobs he's done there. And we really appreciate his work. We wanted to recognize one of the skilled people that we have hired over the years there. So we're honoring him with the Employee of the Month. Of course, he gets the plaque. David, for outstanding work. Of course, he gets the watch, the Employee of the Month pin. And of course, David is eligible for the Employee of the Year that we honor at our banquet in December. So congratulations, David. And he's got a few words for us. David?
Well, I just wanted to thank Mr. Larry Brown, Mr. Brown, for allowing me to enter into the city of Brownsville, the employment, and also for you all here present and been only a few months that I have been working for the city of Brownsville, 14 months to be exact, and I didn't know I was going to get called right away. In fact, I wasn't expecting at all, of course. But I guess it's all boils down to the way of the how you look at your work, and that's one of the things I believe. The harder you work, the better. And also, if I appreciate being an asset to the city of Brownsville, and I hope to do so as I go into the year of work. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
David, congratulations, and keep up the good work, okay? Thanks.
Thank you.
I think, Charlie, as long as we're here, I see the new commander, I do want to make note of the promotions. Why don't you announce the promotions that were announced today at the city police roll call, or maybe
The Chief?
Carlos, Chief, would you announce? I think it behooves all of us to take note of the achievements of our employees, and more particularly today that there was 3 people that were elevated and promoted, and so I think we need to acknowledge their efforts and their families' efforts in going up the ladder. Chief, would you?
Sure. Mayor, members of the City Commission, good evening. Today was a special day at the Brownsville Police Department. 1 person got appointed and 2 persons got promoted. With us today is Commander Orlando Rodriguez, who's been our member of our department for over 28 years, and he got appointed to the rank of Police Commander. Orlando. Orlando would be the commander of Investigative Services Command. which encompasses special investigations and criminal investigations. He also has got some big shoes to fill. He takes the position of commander after Commander Robert Avita retired last week after 36 years of service. And we'll come before you in a couple of weeks to recognize him before the commission. Two other individuals that are not here with us this afternoon or this evening is Lieutenant Kirk Massey and Sergeant Orlando Chavez that got promoted to those positions. Lieutenant Massey will be the Director of Special Investigations Unit, and Sergeant Chavez will be a first-line supervisor in uniform services.
Well, thank you, Chief. I just want to make sure, Commander, that, we acknowledge all your efforts, and you made a beautiful speech there with regards to your belief and faith in family, and how you can thank them for their support in getting you where you wanted to be. And so, good luck to you, and keep up the good work, okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner.
28 years, a lot of work, brother.
Consent
agenda items.
A through D.
Would approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Boards and commissions, item 5, consideration and action to appoint one city commissioner to the Brownsville Beautification Committee.
I make a motion to appoint Commissioner Villarreal.
Motion's on the floor.
Second.
I hear a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You got a lot of friends. Carries. Public hearing, let's see,
Item
it's number
6.
6.
Item 6, public hearing and action regarding the City of Brownsville's proposed budget for fiscal year 2011 to 2012.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, we started the budget process beginning April 19th. During this particular weeks until now, we have met with the department directors. We've gone over their budgets. We've reviewed some of the revenues that the city generates. So this is our first public hearing in the budget of several more to come. We are, the first item that obviously we want to talk about is the general fund. This particular slide shows the 2011 budget versus the 2012 proposed budget. Under property taxes, those numbers will be revised at our next meeting. More than likely that amount on the property tax would be increased once we calculate the effective tax rate. All the others accounts, like the sales tax, there is a slight increase of $650,000. We see ourselves on a rebound as far as sales tax, so we feel confident that we can move that number upwards. The other items are the fines and forfeitures and licenses and permits, et cetera, et cetera. We do have a decrease there under the intergovernmental. We, right now, when we start the fiscal year, we get grants from the federal and state as throughout the year. Those numbers are not reflected. That's the reason why we see a huge decrease in their amount. But we also have to point out that if we increase a governmental revenue, that means that there's also a subsequent expenditure along with that. So if we increase revenues on the intergovernment section, we know very well that there will be some expenditures on the expense side. We didn't finish. As far as revenues, we see a decrease of 6.9 between 11 and 12. And one of the items that stand out there considerably, obviously, are some numbers that we had budget in 2011 from the Public Utilities Board that we have not budgeted for in 2012, and that's a significant amount. And that's the reason, one of the reasons why you see a huge drop in revenues between 2011 and 2012. As we move along to the expenditures, there is a decrease of 8.8 million. But if you look at the revenues versus expenditures on the proposed general fund budget, you'll see that there is a deficit of 4.5. Again, this is a budget number. We are going to spend several, from now on, meeting with the department directors and asking them to obviously decrease some of their expenditures in their various departments. And we're also going to be looking at possibly looking at some other revenues that we may be able to bring to you, maybe through an increase in certain fees as we move along. Right now, the budget for 2011 shows an ending fund balance of 8.5 million, which is a huge drop between 2010 and 2011. Between 2009 and 2010, our fund balance decreased by 1.9 million. The number that we see there of 6.5 in 2011, obviously that's a very conservative number. Historically, we have seen that our numbers always exceed the estimated fund balances at the end of the year. So we're confident that even though it shows 8.5 million, that number could be possibly be close to 10 million. This is just the debt that the city has at the end or the beginning of the fiscal year 2012. And obviously this also includes the debt that we're proposing that you approve tonight, and that's on the next agenda item. Obviously, this is another portion of the debt. We do have self-supporting debt along with the 158 million. 10.5 million is all related to self-funded or self-supporting. As we move along, we have the Convention and Tourism Fund. We have seen a decrease in hotel motel tax in 2011. We're looking at right now around 50,000. So that's the reason that number that we have at 1,350,000 in 2011 is a pretty good figure. We don't see any as far as increases, so we're maintaining the same hotel motel tax revenue for 2012. So the revenues between 2011 and 2012 in the Convention and Tourism Fund are going to be almost the same, pretty steady. On the expenditure side, we're not increasing that. We're going to stay as we are, funding some of these various museums and other nonprofits, which are all of them are museums. And those are the same numbers that we had for 2011.
Pete, who is deciding on the allocation of the hotel occupancy revenue?
We will. You will. This is just
Who's making these recommendations?
right now. The only recommendation, Commissioner, that we have is what we have in the 2011 budget. We can certainly research this as we go along, but we must keep in mind that we only have a limited amount of revenues. Any increases or decreases to these various agencies either are going to come out of the general fund, which general fund is already pretty much strapped as far as funds, if we intend to increase any of these funds.
I just see some significant increases over the years for some of our smaller nonprofits. Yet our largest attraction, the zoo, has seen a decrease in over the last 5 years, which doesn't make any sense to me, considering they've grown tremendously.
Commissioner, good point, and we can certainly revisit this as we move along. We are going to have other budget meetings, but again, if we increase their portion, that means we have to think about the others and maybe reduce some of the other museums or other organizations that we fund. Again, Any increase to any of these line items will have to be met out of the general fund.
Yes,
This doesn't include the allocations that were given to the zoo by 4B, correct?
No.
Okay, so 4B had received allocations from the 4B.
And so did some
Therefore-
of these other entities.
Exactly. But in other words, when you were referencing to the zoo, it's because they were given to another one. Now, we warned this commission, or the previous commission, that when you gave to one, exactly what Pete said, you were gonna open Pandora's box, and everybody was gonna start hitting up as far as why we absolutely always know about the problem with the Museum of Fine Arts. We know about the different problems with Camille Leitner, but when we opened it up and gave to one, it's gonna start where everybody else is gonna be opening. Now we're in a situation where we're in a financial strap, and everybody keeps asking, but yet we have to turn away. So in other words, this is something that was already foreseen in the future. It was to happen. Now, when on your comment when you said, well, our biggest attraction had been funded. It just wasn't through general fund. It had been through the 4B. My knowing there because I funded it when I was in the 4B, and now Commissioner Gowan and Charlie when he was there also.
What was their funding request that was approved through 4B?
Several ones different. When I was there, we funded the bird, where you feed the birds with the.
aviary.
Yeah, the
It's
aviary. No, not the
different
aviary.
every
The aviary was partly
I
funded,
can't
but
remember
the
the
complete
exact
project. The
figures.
one that they were last funded on through the city commission was the park that they have, the little water park.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, aside from also when
I
we.
can get you those
Where's
numbers.
well, I'm not gonna put Darlene on the spot, but we also paid for the restructurization of the bridges.
And now, is it true that once they've been allocated funding through 4B, that they cannot go back a subsequent year?
The zoo's been
request the same
coming back
funding?
for years. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you both commissioners.
The other fund, obviously, is the Community Development Fund, which also has seen a decrease in its funding from the federal government. We see a decrease between 2011 and 2012 of $340,000. This budget obviously goes through you, and you decide how the money gets allocated. Normally, it's a revenues and expenditures match each other on this particular fund. The other one is the next fund is the landfill tipping fee increase. We have revenues of almost 6 million, expenditures of 5.6. So we do have a fund balance at the end of 2012 estimated of 1,000,003. Airport continues and will continue to get subsidies from the general fund. On the 2011, there is a line item called sale of building or land, $800,000. We were hoping that would materialize in 2011 as far as realizing that sale. I've spoken to our airport director, Larry Brown, and he indicates to me that the sale is spending and will probably be finalized by the end of 2011. If it doesn't get finalized in 2011, but 2012, and that's the reason why we have 2012 shown there. There is again, if there is no, if the sale takes place in 2011, that's good for us because then we'll have some monies left over. But we have to realize that in 2012 we have an amount of $800,000 there that's not going to come in 2012 because it came in 2012. So that's something that we need to consider. It's very likely that we would have to increase the general fund transfer during at the beginning or at the middle of 2012. Right now, the expenditures of the airport are almost matching the revenues, with the consideration that the general fund is transferring $945,000. Then you have the motor vehicle parking system fund. This is the fund that handles all the parking meters and some parking lots in the downtown area. This fund is evenly matched with expenses. It shows a $3,000 fund balance. As we move along, we have the bus, the Brownsville Urban System, generating revenues of 1.148, and that's through operating revenues. We increased the general fares and various other revenues. And then you have the expenses of $5,339,989. There is a net loss of $4,191,989. We get 50% reimbursed by the feds or the Federal Transportation Administration of $2,095,995. So that means that the city or bus must make up the difference in various other revenues, including advertising, in-kind, this is the utilities. And then you have, at the very bottom, you have new revenue sources that would come in 2012 as a result of the opening of the terminal that's being constructed in the downtown area. They're going to generate restaurant lease revenues, transit operator revenues. All of these additional revenues will, obviously, we're going to help the general fund, because the general fund now shows a transfer of $628,000. In years past, we've seen that transfer above $1 million. So that's a big break for the general fund once the terminal is open. As we move along, we look at the other fund, which is the Golf Center Fund. Those revenues and expenses, obviously revenues and expenses exceed expenditures by about $64,000. So that's obviously this it also has a transfer from the general fund. The Golf Center has seen transfers from the general fund for various years, as you can see there in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and again 2012. There's a $400,000 transfer from the general fund. And this particular item, we would like for you to, once you close the public hearing, we would like for you to, someone to make a motion to continue the budget hearing or public hearing for next Tuesday. We will continue next Tuesday. And again, this is, we are scheduled to, if everything goes well according to plan, we will, this budget will be approved on September 12th. But we have time between September 12th and September 30th. If we have, we can certainly extend it a few more weeks, because we must have a budget approved by September 30th or before the beginning of the fiscal year.
I'll entertain a motion to continue.
Motion to
Are we
continue
closing the
public
public
hearing.
hearing already?
No,
We're
at
continuing.
this time, Pete, you wanted to continue. You need,
Well, this is a public hearing, but before you,
wanna
as we move
close it?
along to the next item, we would like for someone to make a motion to continue the public hearing for, the budget public hearing for next
in other words,
Tuesday.
we're going to continue the public hearing.
Would it continue?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 7, public hearing and action to adopt ordinance number 2011.
She's right.
I apologize to the public. Is there someone who wants to make open it up? I'm sorry, we'll take that motion off the table. And if there's some public comment, I apologize. Go ahead.
I'll retract my
Dagoberto?
motion.
All right.
Honorable Mayor, it is nice to see you here in your business. While you could be making a lot of money in the other business, you took on this job. And I and the public appreciate your service you give to this community.
I appreciate that, Dago.
I'd like to ask our senior advisor, what is the difference between 7 and 8? Where we're gonna be hot again into more debt by those two bonds, 7 and 8, Pete?
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
You can speak on the next.
On the next item. Okay.
I
apologize, but this 7 and 8 is certainly part of what the proposed budget includes, which is a debt that would be approved
We will open it up once we reach that item.
Okay.
I mean, we will open it up.
No problem, we're all, if they can compromise in Washington, I guess we can compromise here.
Because the Republicans are doing.
Okay, I apologize. Does anybody else wish to make, the public hearing is still open on the budget, on item number 6.
Mayor, I'd move to close public hearing.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we will continue.
And at this
Okay,
moment, I
sorry.
move to continue.
Okay, I now hear the motion to continue public hearing for the next meeting, which will be
Yes, sir.
next week.
Next week.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carries. We now go to item number 7, Estella? Is that-
Yes, sir. Item number 7, public hearing and action to adopt ordinance number 2011-1546 to authorize the issuance and sale and delivery of $5.4 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Brownsville, Texas Combination Tax and Revenue Certificates of Obligation Series 2011, securing the payment thereof by authorizing the levy of an annual ad valorem tax and a pledge of certain surplus revenues of the city's municipal landfill system, and approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement, a purchase contract, an official statement, and all other instruments and related thereto.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is a public hearing, and citizens can certainly speak to this particular item. This is a certificates of obligation that the city it will be issuing, and these are the line items that will be funded for, the landfill improvements, library roof repairs, and the rest is street construction. I may add that this particular certificate of obligation or debt that's being considered to be issued by the city requires a zero tax increase. We did meet with the rating agencies when before these debt was considered. We were very fortunate to maintain a rating of an AA3 with Moody's, an A+ with Standard & Poor's, and a AA- with Fitch. This particular certificate of obligation is for $5,495,000. Now, some of the capital projects that are going to be funding this is the much needed roof repairs at the library. I understand that when we had the storms last year, we had some roof that were leaks, and obviously that may cause quite a damage if this roof doesn't get repaired, because we do have available equipment, available books in the area, so we want to make sure we take care of it before it gets any worse. So that's $1.3 million. And I guess this is something that we have discussed this with the previous city commission. We do have new members, just why I want to make sure that we go slow on this one. And the rest is the landfill improvements. And the main one, obviously, here is the street construction. We certainly need to keep track with continuing with our repairs, our constructions at some of the streets throughout the city. Okay, this particular schedule shows the monies that we're issuing, $5,495,000. It's going to, the interest rate that we're paying on this particular debt is 4.13%. The other item in this schedule is the following item, which is the refunding that we will discuss later. But you can see on the column J, we are maintaining an INS rate of 2703, then it goes down to 2573, 2636, and so forth. Again, if you approve this issuance, there will be a zero tax increase. There is again, it's a public hearing now, Mayor. So.
I have one question, Pete.
Go ahead.
Pete, will the money that's being allocated to streets be for specific streets or just into the general pot of streets?
Into the general pot of streets, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Pete, make sure that the public is fully aware that on that library roof repair, that your emergency management equipment is there, and they are the communication center for up and down the valley. And there's very valuable safety issues with regards to that particular item, and which should be addressed, and Jeff has advises of that. And also with regards to the ratings that you showed up there on the board, those were the ratings that we had previously, and even though there's a lot of downgrading going on right now, I'm very proud of the city of Brownsville maintaining their ratings and not having anything slip, so you're to be commended for that.
Thank you.
Public hearing is available. How are you, Letty?
I'm fine, how are you, sir? The only thing that concerns me, and certificates of obligation over and over again, whether it was the last commission or this commission, I do believe in creativity, I do believe in responsibility, I do believe in people taking their jobs seriously, and if it's something that we must look further than the general fund, then let's do it. Because if it's just gonna be squeezing a lemon, there's just so much juice you can get out of a lemon, and that's Brownsville, Texas. That's who we are. And you know what? I think there can be a better job done by people that are in these departments that are able to look at these things and say, you know what? Let's go and do something different. Let's do something private. Let's not take it from the public. The public is just getting too raunchy. We need something different. And there's people that have and make very good salaries to be making these decisions and be creative about it. There's just so much Mr. Gonzalez can do with the money and the problems. We're sitting on something that we're going to continue to sit on, and we're not going to wise up. We need to wise up. Brownsville is not a manufacturing town. We're not something that, wow, we're Houston. We're not. But people that are in these positions, whoever, if it's on a board, if it's a lawyer, if it's people that are in these positions, they need to be creative. And I've said that before in the other commission, and I'll say it to this commission again. We're not doing our jobs, and I'm not happy. And you shouldn't be. You should be very uncomfortable. You're the mayor. And give us time, give us time. We don't have that time, and you know it, and we know it. So I would encourage you as mayor and the commissioners as well. Let's get creative. Let's not sit on the laurels. There are no laurels to sit on. Absolutely no laurels. And so what should we do? Again, what I talked about before in the previous commission, get grants, get privatized. Privatize things that you can't squeeze any more juice out of. It's not something that can't be done. It can be done. Other cities do it. Other states do it, and everybody's in the same boat. But you know what? We gotta do better, because we're a border, and we see two economies, two cultures, two languages, and we're being like this. And you know what? We can't hold this anymore. The public, the taxpayers, we can't do this anymore. And this is why we elected leaders, to think outside of the box. Get away from the rut. Don't sit on your laurels, or sit on your money, or sit on your titles, or whatever it is. It doesn't work, and it won't work. And I would challenge anybody who's sitting here, who we elected, to do a better job. You need to be responsible, and you need to be creative, and you need to, you know what, stop squeezing Brownsville. Thank you.
Thank you, Letty. Yes, ma'am. This is public.
Roberto Uresti. My question is real simple. 1.3 million for the repair of the library. Is that the two libraries?
No, that's just the central.
Just the central. Didn't the roof have a guarantee, 25 years?
I believe it's a 18-year roof.
And it has 18 years?
Yeah.
Roberto, I have 30-year shingles. They only last 12. In other words, come on.
But that's not the question I'm asking, Mr. Longoria. You're just trying to make it look like I'm saying bad. No, sir. It all depends on the weather and condition. But what I'm saying is $1.3 million for an entire roof is too much money. That needs to be done. How did you get that estimate, sir? How did you get the estimate?
Robert,
Mr. Luna?
He's our director here. He can explain it to you.
Same thing all the time.
Mr. Hatchcock.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, the library undertook two separate studies, one by an architect and one by an engineering firm, to give us reviews of the roofing. Both the architect and engineering firm would be there designing a new roof for the facility. They came in and looked at it. We received reports. Both of their estimates were almost identical with each other in terms of the roofing costs. In the issues in terms of warranty, the library had a 20-year roof. As you all are probably fully aware, a few years back we had a major hailstorm in Brownsville. The main library's roof at that time took quite a beating. And we had it looked at, and most of the roofers that came and looked at it said, yes, you're going to be okay for a while. It will decrease the long-term lifespan of the roofing, which it has done. And that the hailstorm damage is obviously not covered under any warranty from the original manufacturer and installers who put the roof on the building when it was built back in 1993.
How old is that roof?
1993, Mayor.
Okay, so you're at 18, 17, 18?
Yes, we're not far off from approaching the theoretical lifespan of the roof anyway.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was my question. Wasn't the building insured for windstorm?
Didn't you say, Jerry, that it did not cover hailstorm damage?
The warranty on the roof, the original warranty did
No,
not
I
cover
think the
hailstorm
question
damage.
before the
What about
board,
the
before the floor right now is, was there insurance coverage for the hailstorm damage?
I can't answer that question. I'll have to defer that to Pete Gonzalez.
I would say that takes it impact.
At the whole, give me a second. At the whole scheme of this, because I'm going to hear it from you anyway in the next item, but I'm going to tell you right now. We're just telling you. If we're allowed to pass these bonds, once we vote to pass these bonds, we're not going to raise your taxes. Isn't that what you come and ask me every year? Don't raise my taxes. We're not going to raise your taxes, but we need to pass these things because we need to get these things done. Come on.
No,
I mean,
that's not the question, sir. That's not the question. The question is this. My house has insurance for the roof. If the hailstorm comes, it's fixed. I just wanted to know, does the city has to have insurance on its assets? And shouldn't that insurance pay for the roof instead of us asking for $1.3 million? That's all I'm asking.
No,
I'll let
that's
you go
fine.
on that. That's it. We have to question as the public. We have the
And I
right to
realize
question,
that.
sir.
I realize that. Call our staff.
This is
that's
where we
not-
have the public hearing right
Okay,
now,
all right.
sir. Don't get me with the staff right now.
City manager, sir.
Well, it's important to understand that we're asking for the 5-point-something million, and these are some of the options that we are planning on getting done. It could all be utilized for the streets, for example, and we'll have all the answers in relation to roof repairs and things like that. We've gotten all the information from engineers and things like that as to exactly what the cost will be, more or less. Obviously, when we bring in the actual builders, it might be less, it might be more. And yes, we still have to answer all these questions in relation to
Yeah, I
warranties
think
and
the
things like that.
question, Mr. Cavalier, would just simply be if there was insurance coverage, and we may or may not have it, I don't know. I'm not privy to that
Right,
information.
and all that is something we are waiting for. All indications are that it's possibly not. And if it is, then we can use that money for other projects that we are
Anyway.
noting here, including streets.
Okay. Okay.
Requested.
One more question. It seems like I was told right now that the 1.3 million seems to be an architect. It means they're going to change the whole roof, the whole texture of the roof? Because it seems like that you're not going to put the same roof, sir. That's what I'm asking. Is that true, sir?
My understanding, it's a brand-new roof, which is what's required by the architects and the engineers.
There's also some hurricane windstorm issues that have to be addressed. The original roofing material is a gravel-based roof. The new roof, to meet code requirements, from my understanding, has to be a membrane roof because that gravel can be lifted off the building during a major hurricane and cause severe problems for property owners in the adjacent areas. This is something, from what I've been told, came out of the major hurricane strike. I believe it was Andrew that hit Florida quite a few years ago, and the codes were changed in relation to what they found there during a major hurricane.
I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Robert. Okay. Any other comments on this item?
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Tere Flores. My only question is that it just astounds me that the new commission just came on board in less than a month and you already started to put us more in debt. That's unheard of. And I would like for each and every one of you to explain to the public what is it that you know. Because I don't think you all know what you're voting on. I don't think you're well prepared to spend millions and millions and millions of our hard-earned tax dollar money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Do I hear any motions to
I'm
close public hearing? Do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries.
It's an action
Move to
item.
approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item 8, public hearing and action to adopt ordinance number 2011-1547 to authorize the issuance, sale, and delivery of $3.8 million in aggregate principal amount of City of Brownsville, Texas general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2011, securing the payment thereof by authorizing the levy of an annual ad valorem tax and approving and authorizing the execution of a paying agent registrar agreement, a purchase contract, an escrow agreement, an official statement, and all other instruments and procedures related thereto.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, again, this is a public hearing, and all we're doing is restructuring our debt so that we can extend some of our debt for several years, just like refinancing your home. And by doing so, we are able to keep the tax rate at where it is, which is at 27.03. And the interest rate on that particular refunding is 3.7%. Again, we
This is a
recommend.
public hearing. Any comments, please?
That means there will not be any tax increase?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you.
Move to close.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9, public hearing and action to authorize the issuance of a new taxi cab permit to Jorge Vasquez on a 2001 Ford Aerostar that will be operating for the Brownsville Cab.
Mayor, members of the City Commission, good evening. Mr. Jorge Vasquez has filed an application with us for a new motor cab permit for a 2001 Ford Aerostar van. It meets all the requirements under the city taxi ordinance at this time. If it is approved, it will increase the number of permits to 66. We're authorized to have 125. So this is a public hearing and an action item.
Move to approve.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, move to close.
Sorry, we have
Sorry.
public hearing.
Can 9 and 10 be read together?
Well, does anybody have any comment on this particular item? If not, we'll go to item number 10.
Well, I'll move to close 9 if it.
Okay. We'll close 9.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10, public hearing and action to authorize the issuance of a new taxi cab permit to Julian Sayas on a 2006 Chrysler Town and Country van that will be operating for ABC Taxi.
Again, Mr. Valencias has filed an application with us for a new motor taxi cab permit. He will be working under ABC Taxi Company. If approved, there would be permit number 67 out of 125 that's authorized by the city ordinance. It's met all the requirements under the city taxi ordinance, and everything else that is required by legal has been met. So, public hearing and action item.
Okay. Any comments from public hearing?
Move to close.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Public hearing is closed.
Move to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 11, public comment period. Judy Rodriguez.
Estella, we're now going to action items number 12.
Yes, sir. Item
Is
number
there any
12
other, there's no other speakers, is that correct?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Item 12, consideration and action to authorize that funds from the plastic bag remittance fee account be allocated to the Make a Difference Bulk for Cash event to be held on August 13th, 2011 at Montebello Trails Park on Alton Glore Boulevard.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners. This is an action item requesting permission to allocate funding from the environmental plastic bag fee for a Make a Difference Day project that the city is having on August the 13th, 2011 from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. We will host this event at the Montebello Trails Park located at 2525 West Alton Glore. We have budgeted $50,000 in total. $15,000 will be used for advertising and marketing, and $35,000 towards the actual funds given back to the community. Any unspent funding or funds will be returned to the fund for future environmental projects. During this event, the city will be accepting bulky waste items such as old furniture, sofas, mattresses, tables, chairs, stoves, refrigerators, and air conditioners without Freon. We will not be accepting tires, though. We are asking for proof of residency. Residents must bring a utility bill and a driver's license in order to receive cash for these items. We would like to invite you, Mayor, and the Commission to join us on August the 13th from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Should the committee have need further information or have any questions, they can contact the Health Department regarding the Make a Difference project at 542-7511. Thank you.
This is an action item.
I'm sorry. Chris Hagstrom, City of Brownsville Health Department.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
This is not a public comment.
Item 13, consideration and action to acknowledge the Cameron Appraisal District Chief's Appraiser's certification of the City of Brownsville's 2011 tax roll.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is just to acknowledge the Chief Appraisal's certification of the city's 2011 tax roll, which came up to $5,466,348,524. Just acknowledgement.
Move to acknowledge.
I hear a second.
Second.
John? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 14, consideration and action to acknowledge the Chief Financial Officer's certification of the estimated ad valorem tax collection rate for the tax year 2011 and the excess debt tax collections for tax year 2010.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is something that goes into the equation or the worksheet for the calculation of the effective tax rate and the rollback rate. And the certification is that it'll be 100% collection ratio with the zero tax excess debt collections, and that's just that will go into the formula when we do the calculation.
Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15, consideration and action to acknowledge the Chief Financial Officer's calculation of the city's effective and rollback ad valorem tax rates for tax year 2011 or fiscal year 2012.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, we would like for you to table this item. There are some information that's going to be included in the worksheet because of the new debt that was issued this evening. We would like to include those numbers in the calculations, so we would like for you to table this item for next week.
Motion to table.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item number 15 will be tabled. Item number 16.
Item number 16, consideration and action to acknowledge the Chief Financial Officer's financial statements and cash investment report for the City of Brownsville's third quarter ending June 30th, 2011.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, I do have a PowerPoint presentation for this particular item. I'm going to see if I can go as rapidly as I can. This is for the period that ended June 30th of this fiscal year. Some of the areas that we probably need to be concerned of is the reduction of state and federal grant assistance. We continue to see a rise and fall of gasoline prices. It's very likely that they'll continue to rise or stay as they are, but again, that can be a concern for us. The other is a decline on our bridge revenues of about $600,000. Tax rolls continue to be flat, and unemployment rates continue to be high. So those are areas of concern for the city. As far as sales tax, we do see a rebound for this particular fiscal year to the end of July, or June rather. We had an increase of 4.13 as compared to the same period as last year, and we're about 1.82% above budget numbers. So if this trend continues between now and the end of the fiscal year, which we have 3 more months left, we should have at least a $428,000 increase against the budget. So that's a plus for us. And this is just a chart that we've done this before. Just shows you the decline and then the rebound that we see in sales tax. Unemployment rate again 12.2% as of May. This is a major problem for us. We have discussed this before. It's the bridge. We do see a decline. Right now we're at 27.8%, down from last year. If the trend continues, we should see a shortfall of about $600,000 as compared to about $400,000 increases in sales tax. So we see increases in sales tax, but we also see a decrease by a higher amount in the revenues of the bridge. And again, this is a chart showing some of the problems that we've had regarding traffic at the Veterans Bridge. Building permits, we see an increase right now between July 2010 and July 2011, a 6.3% increase. Again, this is a chart of building permits. Again, we're no close to what we had in 2008. Certified property tax rolls, almost flat. Debt that's issued, we just issued today, so it's 2011. That needs to be included in here. We do have self-funded debt of about $10,555,000. Tax rates have remained steady throughout the years at 65 cents. General fund history, obviously we are seeing a decrease as we move along. We certainly want for this fund balance not to decrease any further, and so that means we have a lot of hard work ahead of us, possibly reducing some expenditures or raising other revenues. Fund balance, $15 million at the end of the year, fiscal year 2011, 10 rather. These are all numbers that, this is the general fund. How is the general fund doing through June 30th? We have realized or collected $68,279,000 in revenues, about 76%. The main one there is the property tax. Most of the taxpayers paid their payments prior to January of each year. That's when we have discounts that we allowed 3% for early payment in October, 2% in November, and 1% in December. And after that, after February, there's penalties involved. So we collect most of our property taxes through. We've already done most of the collections through June. Expenditures, we're at 66 million through June, 71%. General fund balance sheet at the end of June, we had a fund balance of 15,190,000. Based on the budget, these are all budget numbers, 8.5 billion. We more than likely will see a 10 million fund balance at the end of the fiscal year instead of the 8.5 million. These are conservative numbers. This is the fund balances of June, 15.1 million, 15.2 million. Convention and Tourism Fund, hotel motel taxes not doing well. We are cash transfer of 249 from the general fund will be transferred between now and September, so that should take care of part of the deficit. Hopefully, we'll end with at least a zero fund balance at the end of the fiscal year. Community development, it's in and out, federal and federal funds, revenues and expenditures are equal. Non-bonded debt service fund, 11,652 fund balance. Debt service, 5.7 million at the end of June. We have a payment that's due on August the 15th, so that number is going to decrease to about 2.5, 2.3 at the end of the fiscal year. We do have a fund of streetscape project. We have 459,000. Landfill fund at the end of June, 826,000. Airport, this includes net assets, but right now expenses exceed revenues of 611,000. We have transfer already 1,138,340. So this is something that we need to look at between now and the end of the fiscal year. We do have a building that will probably sold before the end of September, so for 800,000 more or less. So that should take care of the current deficit that we have right now. If not, that means that the general fund is going to have to transfer in additional funds to keep this fund in the black. Bridge fund, we've discussed this. It's fund balance right now 363,000. Parking meter, we have expenditures of 374,000, revenues of 379, or a plus 5,516. Transit system, net loss 22,011,000. We get half of that from the feds, 1,005,000, and then the rest come from various other sources. So that fund will eventually be balanced. Right now we have a general fund transfer of 340,661. We have a state grant of 520,947. The Golf Center, we have expenses of 698,000, revenues of 497,357. General fund transfer that will be done, that hasn't been done yet, 500,000. Once this transfer is done, then we'll be in the black. Then we have other ERA grants that the city has received, and I'll just go very rapidly here. This one is it's for the Department of Commerce, for the library, 54,000 fund balance, and then we have the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, Homeless Prevention and Rapid Rehousing. Again, this is monies, the revenues will match the expenditures. Throughout all these grants that I'll show you, as far as ERA grants, we will have revenues matching expenditures, and we have several of them. There's another one, the weatherization, and then CDBG, another CDBG stimulus grant. And then we have the Justice of Law Enforcement, Department of Justice, the Police Department, purchase of equipment. And then we have the Department of Energy grant. And then we have the Department of Justice for radios. And then as we continue more, Department of Justice for the Police Department. And then this is for Energy, Department of Energy. And then we move along to the Health Insurance Fund. Activity for the end of June shows receipts or contributions of 7.4 million, expenditures of 7.2. Right now we are showing receipts over expenditures of about 150,954. Finally, the investment of the city, comparing 10 versus 11, we have investments of 62,096,436. We also invest for the other funds, or other agencies, which includes the BCIC, the Public Improvement District, and the JBIC. And that concludes my presentation. And this is to acknowledge my report.
Very good, Pete, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to acknowledge.
Do I hear a second? Second. All those, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7.
Mayor, may I ask, some of these items that are losing money, is something being done so they won't keep losing the money?
Mr. Barrett, I think that the question would go to
Pete.
Pete, so with all due respect and appreciate the question.
Thank you, Mayor.
But, okay, Pete, did you want to do it now, or do you want to,
We could do it now, we could do it during the budget process, certainly. We're going to be looking at each fund, especially some of these funds that obviously normally require cash transfers from the city, but that's consistent throughout the years. We certainly are going to be looking at them as we move along in the budget process.
okay, item number 17?
Item 17, consideration and action on resolution number 2011-049 in support of the Regional Planning Consortium of the Rio South Texas to apply for grant funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, the Regional Planning Consortium of Rio South Texas is a diverse group of valley municipalities, transit agencies, nonprofit organizations, economic development corporations, educational institutions, and MPOs that was created in last year to apply for this same grant that we're applying today. A request of $1 million will be made from the Category 2 of the Sustainable Communities Regional Planning Grant offered by HUD. The Rio South Texas region has a variety of regional and local plans that address a wide array of topics, including housing, transportation, economic development, infrastructure, and the environment, that need to be fine-tuned and coordinated between our cities. With a possible award, which we're applying to and hopefully will get, an all-encompassing regional plan for sustainable development that will address the livability principles in an integrated fashion will be created. So that's our goal, to apply for this. And your resolution, you have an sundry of topics that the grant application will cover. So we're asking for your support. The grant will be submitted by the Council of Governments. What we have done to make sure that needs are addressed in the application, last year we formed a co-chairs. Mr. Garza, Proyecto Azteca, Amado Garza from Proyecto Azteca in Hidalgo County is co-chair. I'm the second co-chair for Cameron County. And the grant is written by the MPO in Hidalgo County. So we hope that we will get funded this year.
Okay.
So we ask for your support.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
A second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ben.
Item 18, consideration and action to authorize and execute an interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of Brownsville Police Department and the Texas Department of Public Safety as required in order to purchase and receive protects DPS supplies and maintenance, and maintain uniform procedures used by the police department in breath testing and laboratory alcohol drug testing programs.
Mayor, members of the commission, good evening. We're asking for approval in regards to this interlocal cooperation contract between the Texas Department of Public Safety and the City of Brownsville Police Department. Pretty much, in a nutshell, is so that we can continue to buy certain forms, manuals, certain supplies that are required for the intoxicated breath testing. And this is all in order to be able to control uniformity of procedures, consistency in paperwork, and supplies in these programs. And we buy them at a reduced rate because we buy them directly from them.
Your motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And for the record, Mayor, it's a 2-year contract, or 2-year cooperation agreement, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
Chief. Appreciate it.
Item-
Item number 19.
Item 19, consideration and action to award a contract for street improvements at 7th Street and Frontage Road.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, staff recommends to award a contract for street improvements for 7th Street and Frontage Road to G&T Paving Contractors of Brownsville, Texas, the low responsible bidder, with a bid amount of $70,815. Completion time for this project shall be 90 consecutive calendar days. Funding for this contract is available through a GO bond, account number 83-8200. The Brownsville Engineering Department concurs with this recommendation. I'll be happy to address any questions.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item 20, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of a terminal video wall at the bus multimodal facility.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for purchase, delivery, and installation of terminal video wall at the Brownsville Multimodal Facility to ACES Consulting of McAllen, Texas, in the amount of $99,983.88. This procurement reflects by-board contract pricing. Funding for this procurement is available from account TX-04-0556 in the amount of $79,987.10, which is 80%, and the local match of $19,996.78, which is the 20%, for a total amount of $99,983.88. The administration of the bus department concurs with this recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Luna. Appreciate it. Now it's your turn.
Thank you, sir. Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.